Swarup. Now today the Supreme Court severely criticized YouTuber Ranveer Allahbadia for making vulgar remarks on Samay Raina's India's Got Latent show. The Supreme Court has said that such behavior should be condemned. The apex court also commented that the podcaster had something very dirty in his mind, which he vomited on the show. Remember, Allahabadia had moved the Supreme Court against the FIRs lodged over his alleged distasteful comments during the show on YouTube. He also wanted the clubbing of all the FIRs against him. Now, a bench of Justices Surya Kant and N. Koteshwar Singh heard this entire matter. The court provided relief to the podcaster as it protected him from arrest. The Supreme Court also restrained Ranveer Allahbadia from airing any further YouTube shows. More importantly, the top court's scathing observations have now resurrected a larger debate on free speech, so-called dark humor, and content monitoring on digital platforms like social media and OTT. For a country where the history of comedy has been defined by the wit and humor of Birbal in Akbar's court or Tenali Ram in Sri Krishna Devara's court or even the Hasya Kavi Sammelan on Doordarshan, has the Western concept of stand-up comedy gone too far? Or is Allahabadia's controversy yet another social commentary of how ruthless humor and crass comedy is being marketed as the new normal in the name of free speech? Or is this just moral policing in a country grappling with unemployment, rising prices and threats to women's safety? On that note, let me also take you through what the caveats have been after days of continued social media backlash, commercial boycott threats. The day brought some relief for Ranveer Allahbadia as the Supreme Court has now granted interim protection to the YouTuber and podcaster. Here's what the Supreme Court order now states. Let me take you through it. Allahabadia's arrest has been stayed in all FIRs registered against him. Now further it's in fact also gone on to say that no further FIR shall be registered against Allahabadia on the basis of India's Got Latent show, which was the cause of this entire backlash. The Supreme Court has observed that Allahabadia shall be at liberty to now approach local police of Maharashtra, even Assam, for protection of life and liberty in case of any threat impeding him to join the investigation. I beg your pardon. However, the relief did come with many caveats. First, Allahabadia has been asked to deposit his passport with the Thane police. He cannot leave the country without permission from the Supreme Court. And lastly, Allahabadia and his associates have been barred from airing any show. But while Ranveer Allahbadia's comments on the show India's Got Latent were nothing short of absolute filth, it's necessary for us as audience to rise above selective outrage. Problematic remarks by those in public eye and a following running into millions has now dominated our political discourse. Let me also name just a few of them. It was Mulayam Singh Yadav who made the comment, "Ladke ladke hote hain, unse galtiyan ho jati hain," and he was referring to a rape case. Or be it BJP's Manohar Lal Khattar, who claimed that rape charges are often filed due to arguments or fallouts between friends. How can one forget Congress leader Digvijay Singh's Tanchmal comment? He in fact referred to a fellow party MP as 100% pure good, or in fact referring to her as Tanchmal. Anil Basu, a CPM leader, in his criticism of West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, compared her to the sex workers of Sonagachi. And Sharad Yadav from JDU said that South Indian women might be dark-skinned, but they have beautiful bodies and that they can dance gracefully. And that was just about our politicians, the elected representatives who were voted to represent us by you and I. Ranveer Allahbadia is now facing action for his sick query, may perhaps be justified, but wouldn't it be only fair if all content creators are looked at from the same prism? That's a question we'll be raising as far as Supreme Court scathing observations in this case have now triggered a larger debate. Was the action against Allahabadia and his associates justified, or are we taking it a bit too far now that Ranveer Allahbadia has been receiving those death threats? And it's not just him, his family members too.
स्वातंत्र्याच्या माध्यमातून घाला घालू शकत नाही. त्यामुळे ज्या ठिकाणी अश्लीलता ही परिसीमेच्या बाहेर जाते त्या ठिकाणी कारवाई करणं हे गरजेचं असतं. मात्र या संदर्भात काही नियमावली तयार करता येईल का, जरूर केंद्र सरकारची आमची चर्चा चाललेली.
आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि जिनके दिमाग में गंदगी भरी होती है वो लोग इस तरह से अपने माता पिता और इस तरह से बातें करते हैं.
A lot of people were watching it. Some must have been offended, but they didn't open their mouths, etc. And he is not a person who was a part of a conspiracy.
All right, let me introduce our panelists today. I'm joined by Mr. Satyamulya, who's a senior lawyer at the Supreme Court, Nasir Abdullah, who's an actor, Rahul Ishwar, who's the complainant also in this matter. Rahul, I'm told, will be joining in just a bit. Also joined in by Mr. Shiv Khera, who's an author. Satya, let me set the tone of this debate with you. I want to ask you, keeping the legal definition of obscenity in mind, whatever has happened, and particularly in case of Ranveer Allahbadia's comments, do they in fact make for a criminal offence?
Akanksha, yes, definitely it does make for a criminal offence. The ingredients that are present in the kind of statements that have been made by Ranveer definitely constitute an offence, not just under the section that defined obscenity, but also under the sections of IT Act, that is 67, that also lead to punishment of up to 3 years of imprisonment and 5 lakh rupees of fine for broadcasting and transmitting material which is obscene. Now here comes the question whether this particular material is obscene or not. When we have crossed certain borders and the material that has been broadcasted provokes the sentiments of people in context to sexually explicitness, then it does get classified as obscene. And of course, the narrative that has been set across, the hue and cry that has come up in the country is fully justifiable. The other elements that you projected about the politicians in the history making these kind of statements have also added fuel to the fire since the past. Moving ahead, Indian society, if it is not ready for this kind of things, definitely it will never be ready. Because our society is the society which brings up images or brings up situations such as, our religion and culture is having Saraswati goddess, we have Lakshmi as goddess, females is being worshipped in our religion and culture. In India, females have a very special place, and making dark humor encircling their particular sexuality or leading to some kind of obscene comments is never going to be accepted in Indian society.
I want to bring in Nasir on that note. I see Rahul has also joined in. I'm going to come to you as well, Rahul. But Nasir, when you talk about how what India's taste in comedy has been, I've in fact referred to books that we grew up reading, which was about Birbal in Akbar's court. Then you have Tenali Ram, and Doordarshan was known to have these Hasya Sammelans or the Kavi Sammelans. Sure. We've now come to an era which has lapped up dark humor.
Is it okay for me to speak now?
Right. No, but I want to ask you, Nasir, about our perception of what is comedy and where do we draw the line. Nasir, can you hear me?
I'm having a problem with the hearing. Can you? I don't.
Right. I'm going to ask my team.
I'm going to
ask my team. I just wanted to ask you quickly.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now if you want to repeat the question.
Nasir, I just want to ask you, how do we define what's comic and what's in poor taste? Because I just talked about how far Indian comedy has come, and we've started also lapping up this Western concept of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I got it. So here's the deal. Actually, comedy in India has really grown. There's a lot of the talent, amazing people of all kinds, Hindi, English, and Marathi, and Gujarati, and Punjabi. Of late, it has become very more exuberant and boisterous and adultish, and sex has always been a part of it, and now it has increased greatly, and it has been accepted. The thing about the comedy is the shock value. So it's an embarrassing value, a kind of a scandalizing thing which somehow the audience seems to like. They do go sort of, oh my God, what is he saying? But then they enjoy it because it has a shock value, and somehow people manage to feel okay about it. Okay? Now here is what has happened with Ranveer. He saw another show which he thought might also work for him, get a lot of laughs, etc. So he didn't plan it like make a comedy like that. He evolved a comedy that was already on in the Western TV, and he showed it. Unfortunately, that was not a great idea because some people were very upset about it, and I understand that. It was cheap, as they call it in Hindi. It was really a ghatia. He didn't need to do it. But unfortunately, the youngsters there, they were kind of having a good time about it. Some must have felt awkward, but unfortunately, that is the way it is. So also, he has realized his mistake and apologized profusely. And then I think it's unfair to call him a kind of to call it a kind of a conspiracy that he actually did it to demean the relations between the mom and dad and the husband and wife and all that, which is absolute rubbish. He made a mistake for which he's apologized.
All right.
And yes, I mean, the comedy has. I have seen a dozen shows where at the end of every 2-3 lines there is an expletive, what you call a gali.
Right.
You know, we have all the galis.
All right, I've taken your point. I take your point, and let me take that point forward with Mr. Shivkera as well.
He needs to be forgiven, and he does not need to be branded as a kind of a terrorist and to be thrown in a jail, which a lot of other comedians are saying about him, which is very unfair and wrong.
Not just comedians, in fact, the fringe elements have also spoken.
I don't
Yes.
like it. It is cheap.
Mr. Shivkera, as Nasser has been making that point, that are we going too far with this now? Because, you know, in the application that was presented by Ranveer's lawyer, Abhinav Chandrachud, he's also referred to the kind of threats he's been receiving. One of the wrestlers going and, you know, declaring out there that जो ज़बान काट के लाएगा रणवीर अलाहाबादिया की उसको मैं 5 लाख रुपए दूंगा. Where have we arrived?
Well, Anushka, to
Akanksha.
begin with, at the outset, Akanksha, to begin with, it is totally vulgar what he did. It cannot be justified. He did wrong. There is no question about that. And certainly he has crossed the level of decency and stepped into vulgarity. That is very true. This is right. Now, I just want to I'm deviating slightly and give me a little benefit of doubt. You see, in the Western world, pornography is sold legally. There are many people who say, this is not pornography, this is art. This is what you see in our temples. Now, a judge was once asked, can you tell the difference between pornography and art? And the judge said, I cannot tell the difference, I cannot define it, but I can tell the difference when I see the two. So here is a judge could not tell. Now in this particular case, very easily he has crossed the line, he has gone vulgar, it cannot be justified, number one. Now these are young kids, and today's generation, many of them feel this is cool, this is not cool, this is vulgar. In fact, I got a message from one of the judges in the Supreme Court, one of the lawyers was talking to the judge and he was saying, yup, 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 yup. And the judge said, what do you mean yup, 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 yup? You are not sitting in a bar. You talk properly, you say yes. What is yup, yup, yup? This is not cool, this is straight, outright vulgar. And that's what it's all about. So my point I'm trying to make is, now, is he a terrorist? Is he a hardened criminal? There are politicians who have made statements like, if a girl is being raped and if she has no choice, she might as well enjoy it. What happened to this guy? Show me a press where it said he was put into jail for 5 years and he paid 50 lakhs.
No, I think that's a very valid point. That's a very valid point that you've made, Mr. Khera. I want to bring in Rahul Ishwar on that note. Rahul, vulgarity in stand-up comedy or lapping up this kind of roasting in the name of dark humor has certainly gone too far. While we are in the favor of bringing in checks and balances balances now to regulate this kind of content on OTT platforms. But where is the kind of judicial authority that we've seen being exercised today when you have similar comments, or maybe perhaps even more derogatory ones, being made by politicians who have been elected by we the people?
Akanksha ji, 3 submissions. First of all, 2 wrongs doesn't justify a right. I have complained against Ranveer Allahbadia. I really like him as a person. I am a Hindu right-wing activist. He is also leaning towards right. But what he said and did was absolutely unpardonable and unjustifiable. So he should face the music. Reason, all the other content creators, YouTubers, orange economy people, creative economy people should know that there are some Lakshmana Rekhas so that no one should cross it. Family and every faith should be respected like that. Third point, I am a Hindu right-wing activist who gave complaint against Satwi Prachi for her anti-Muslim comments. See, the point is there are some things that we should not cross. Faith and family are such holy cows or sacred cows in our society. No family, no faith should be ridiculed, demeaned, or trampled upon. So it's our responsibility to see to it that there are some Lakshmana Rekhas, you can call it check and balances, you can call it red lines, you can call it anywhere. That's the reason why let's not justify Ranveer. I sincerely hope Ranveer comes back, does better content, and has such kind of following again. But I'm very happy as a complainant and as a father of 2 kids that Supreme Court came down heavily on him. Supreme Court rightly reflected the sentiments of every father, mother, and a family man in our nation, where Supreme Court literally had never harsher words in the recent times. They use words like dirt, they use words like society will be devalued, families will be ashamed. So it should be a wake-up call for all YouTubers, influencers. Supreme Court has given us a template, a Lakshmana Rekha, a guideline, so that other content creators, when they create content, they will not repeat it. And the last point, unfortunately, in our modern times, provocation and perversion are incentivized by the number of eyeballs, YouTube views, money associated with it.
Right.
Perversion is not cool. Being good is cool is the message that we have to give in. It is not being cool bringing in sex jokes about parents or any kind of perversion. We all like humor. We are not the holier than those Sanskari types. But at the same point of time, we can't go to this extent too. Somewhere we have to find a moderate path. I'm not saying that we have to be that old Aloknath kind of people who will say only the good things in the world.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I take that point, but Satya Mule, when we talk about self-regulation, in fact, in a report by in 2024, it talked about how India is going to exceed over 900 million active internet users at a time like this. Do you think self-regulation is going to even work, or are we talking about more stringent rules and regulations to now kick into the system where you're not just looking at OTT platforms, but even, say, social media platforms like X and YouTube as well?
Well, it is difficult to say. I mean, we cannot...
No, why I'm asking, because it's been over 10 years. We've seen how stand-up comedy and dark humor and roasting was brought in by the culture as far as AIB is concerned. It's been 10 years. We've been complaining then, we are complaining now.
It's not just about dark humor. It's also about freedom of speech. In fact, freedom of speech encompasses...
Oh, absolutely. That's why we are having this discussion.
Yes. Dark humor, or for that matter, all kind of expressions are covered under freedom of speech. In the past, Salman Rushdie has faced the brunt. Nupur Sharma has faced the brunt. All of them have been punished by the society. The punishment has been bigger than what law could have punished these people. Now, what has happened is the society has demonstrated what is vulgar, what is obscene, and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And this is what exactly law is all about. Law is supposed to serve the society, and therefore what we want to say here is that what obscenity was there in Ranveer's show cannot be by any stretch of imagination accepted or converted or tried to camouflage as dark humor. This is not even dark humor. This is absolutely not dark humor. This was an attempt to pass off as a dark humor, where when we are in a country where females are worshipped as goddesses, no stretch of imagination permits a copy-paste dark humor in this country, where it is a complete misfit in context to cultural differences with Western countries and India. Therefore, what we want to say here as of now is that let him face the law. Of course, it is not an offense which will put him behind the bars, but definitely he will have to face the procedure.
All right.
And in this country, he has to face the procedure. He has done this particular mischief. He has to face the music.
Nasir Abdullah, I want to ask you...
What is the music?
All right, I'll give you the time to in fact come up with a rebuttal to what Satya has been saying, but many have drawn comparisons between Ranveer Allahbadia and the kind of backlash we saw happen at during the time of Nupur Sharma. Do you think they are fair comparisons over here? In fact, the right lobby has taken offense to why a Nupur Sharma has been vilified.
Yeah, okay, here is the deal. Nupur did another story. I don't want to compare it because then it gets very boring for me. Here is the deal.
No, I'll tell you why I'm asking, because today
the Supreme Court
in fact, Ranveer's lawyer, Abhinav Chandrachud also
I'm on a show.
Yeah.
Sorry. Call me
All right, if I
time.
may now have your attention.
Look.
Right, because
No,
Abhinav
okay,
Chandrachud took Nupur Sharma's name in the court today, and that is why the comparisons are being drawn.
It doesn't matter. That was another. You were making an attack. She was making an attack upon the prophet of a certain religion. It was another story. What I'm saying is, this man took a chance because he thought the way things are going, this will also go along, because it was about intimacy. It was also about how the children are born. We are told as youngsters that the milkman delivered us. We are told a seagull or a stork dropped us. Then later we find out that we are the result of the communion of our parents. But we don't question it. It's fine, it's holy, it's fine. But this guy tried to make something out of it, and it fell on his face. And now the Supreme Court has done the right thing in passing strictures on him that, look, you cannot fool around with the traditions of our country, and they have banned him from doing a lot of stuff. So his feathers have been cut.
I want to bring in Shiv Khera. Shiv Khera, there's many critics of the way this has now shaped up, this entire controversy has shaped up. Critics of all of us who are questioning this are calling this moral panic, and they're saying that the way children are to be supervised is the responsibility of parents. I beg to differ, because as a parent I do believe that our children are reflections of what the society becomes. Mr. Khera.
Are you asking me that question? Okay, Mr. Khera.
Yeah. Akanksha, let me clarify two things. You brought in Nupur Sharma's case here. Important thing is, you see, Nupur Sharma, people are saying, why did she say it? Was she factually incorrect? Now that is something that your lawyer has to figure that out. That was one part. But second thing is, Allahabadia, this guy was outright vulgar, no doubt about it. Now, what is the cause? Today in families also, our kids, the way they are being brought up, is it their responsibility? I feel personally, today the problem is with the parents, the way they are bringing up their kids. They are using vulgarity in their homes, by the way. No wonder these kids are picking up all these things. And today if you look at the Western media, Western TV, the more you make fun of your teachers and parents and your adults, the more people laugh at you. That is the comedy become it is totally a perverted sense of humor. So it has changed totally. And I personally feel, if they feel it is cool, it is not cool, it is outright vulgar. But the only one thing I'm saying is, as far as I'm concerned, on this guy, it was a stupid mistake. And within 30 minutes, he apologized publicly all over the world.
All right, I want to quickly end with Rahul Ishwar's thoughts. Rahul Ishwar, I want to also take a moment to allude to the hypocrisy that we've seen within the opposition in India. Because remember, when the broadcast bill was being tabled, it was these very opposition MPs, not just the likes of Priyanka Chaturvedi, but many like Ms. Priyanka Gandhi and several from TMC who had taken objections to the broadcast bill. And today, those very people, including Gaurav Gogoi, are also questioning the Prime Minister, the government's stance when it comes to Ranveer Allahbadia.
Akanksha ji, just one submission. Liberty's twin brother is responsibility. Creativity's twin sister is sensitivity. There is no liberty and creativity without responsibility and sensitivity. This is what we have to ensure. And second, Nupur ji is a very good friend of mine. Hate speech or any derogatory comment regarding anybody, whether it be Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Sri Ram, is unacceptable. I, as a Hindu activist, make it a point to say the salutation of sallallahu alaihi wasallam after saying Prophet Muhammad. That's the culture of India, respecting every faith. So these are
Also, what about the hypocrisy of these opposition MPs?
Exactly, and opposition leaders should at least have some kind of standards that is applicable to all. Many times, because of their politics, they are pursuing things, sometimes in the name of freedom of expression, sometimes in the name of something else. We should all come together and pass this bill so that accountability is there, responsibility is there, and sensitivity is also there, which will protect every family and every faith.
Absolutely. I'm sure we all will agree that it's not just about a witch
Rahul.
hunt. It shouldn't become about a witch hunt as far as any comedian is concerned, but perhaps also it's high time for the government also to now contemplate on bringing in stringent checks as far as social media content is concerned, even the OTTs. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining us on that discussion. And with that, in fact, we slip into a quick break, but when we'll be back, we'll be in fact talking about a row which is currently plaguing Telangana as far as the state government's decision to grant an hour early off to the Muslim employees is concerned. Is it secularism or appeasement? We'll just be deep diving into that in just a bit.
सस्ते वाले
While hearing the plea filed by YouTuber Ranveer Allahbadia, the Supreme Court bench came down heavily on him. However, they've granted him relief from arrest. As of now, Ranveer Allahbadia has cases pending against him at Jaipur, at Guwahati, apart from that at Mumbai as well. This very case pertains to remarks which were made on India's Got Latent show. Apart from Ranveer Allahbadia, there are several other promoters as well as judges of the show who are under the radar of various agencies. Particularly when it comes to Ranveer Allahbadia, he had moved the Supreme Court asking for relief from arrest and also clubbing of all the FIR against him. Now here, particularly the counsel that appeared for Ranveer Allahbadia, that's Abhinav Chandrachud, happened to mention before the court that he was receiving death threats and also there was name calling being made against the family members of Ranveer Allahbadia. However, the court mentioned that making comments, obscene comments, just because they had the authority on YouTube does not account for them coming before the court. They also came down heavily saying that such comments are something that would not be permissible before the parents or family. It was not kind of a comment that one would make. Particularly mentioning of these obscene comments, the court, however, though came down heavily on Ranveer Allahbadia, granted him relief from arrest in all of these cases on the condition that he would have to be present before all these enforcement agencies in person and record the statement. Also, they went further to mention that Ranveer Allahbadia did not particularly have his counsel along with him when he appears before them for questioning. Now here, before this, the Khar police station at Mumbai had also reached out to Ranveer Allahbadia. However, sources had mentioned that he was not to be found and it was not possible to communicate with him, which is where his legal team was in touch with the Khar police station. The court has also gone further and mentioned that Ranveer Allahbadia should submit his passport and so that he cannot travel outside the country. Apart from that, promoters of the very show, also were judges, are not allowed to have any further show until any orders by the court. The agencies which would further be questioning Ranveer Allahbadia have also been instructed to submit a report before the court, so which is where. Now what's also important to note is that this very statement that has been made by court would further have Ranveer Allahbadia to be ensured that he be present before all of these agencies, particularly so that he cooperate with them for the investigation. Now here the next summon for Ranveer Allahbadia is before the Maharashtra Cyber Cell, which is for February 24th. So which is where now Ranveer Allahbadia would have to be present before Maharashtra Cyber Cell and record his statement. Apart from that, the Khar police station is also trying to find Ranveer Allahbadia, and so is a case with the summons issued from Jaipur as well as Guwahati. But on the other hand, the National Commission for Women had also sent had also sent summons to approximately 7 people who were promoters, directors and producers of the show India's Got Latent. When it comes to these very summons that were issued by the NCW, none of them appeared before the NCW. In fact, Apura Mukhija, apart from that, Samay Raina, Ranveer Allahbadia have requested that they be allowed to be present through video conferencing, something that was rejected by the National Commission for Women. And the second date has now been given. Samay Raina and Apura Mukhija have been called in on March 6th, whereas Ranveer Allahbadia has been summoned for March 11th.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी इस पूरे मामले में जो आरोपी हैं रणवीर इलाहाबादी, उसको काफ़ी फटकार लगाई। जो लैंग्वेज यूज़ होते थे काफ़ी ऑब्जेक्शनेबल थे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये बोला।
एडवोकेट आशीष जी राय और उनके सहकारी लोगों ने मुझे राज्य महिला आयोग को एक कंप्लेंट दर्ज की थी। उन्होंने उसमें कहा था कि रणवीर इलाहाबादी और उनकी पूरी टीम बहुत गंदे कंटेंट लेके यूट्यूब पे कुछ वीडियो अपलोड करते हैं और एक प्रोग्राम लेते हैं कि उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई की जाए। तो उसका रेफरेंस लेके हमने मुंबई पुलिस को लेटर भेजा था और कहा था कि इसकी पूरी तरह से जांच की जाए और इसकी जांच करते हुए आपके पास जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आ जाए उसके ऊपर उचित कार्रवाई की जाए। दूसरे ही दिन उनके ऊपर एफआईआर दर्ज की गई और इस कंटेंट लेके, इससे गंदे कंटेंट लेके जहाँ भी ये वीडियो किए जाते हैं, जस्ट शूट किया जाता है, वो जाके लोकेशन देख के पुलिस ने अच्छी तरह से इसका पूरा का पूरा तपास किया है। और उसके बारे में आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि जिनके दिमाग में गंदगी भरी होती है वो लोग इस तरह से अपने माता पिता और इस तरह से बातें करते हैं। तो रणवीर इलाहाबादी और उनके पूरे टीम ने आगे जाकर पुलिस को अच्छी तरह से इसमें तपास में सहयोग करें। जो भी गंदे कंटेंट इनके यूट्यूब पे हो गए वो इनके यूट्यूब चैनल से हटा दिए जा और अलग।
Welcome back. Now, in a move aimed at accommodating religious observances during the holy month of Ramzan, the Telangana government has granted Muslim employees in government departments, public sector units and educational institutions permission to leave work an hour earlier than usual. While the decision is designed to support employees in observing their religious duties and prayers during the fasting month of Ramzan, it has come under fire, with BJP and Hindu leaders now branding it as appeasement politics. The order states that Muslim employees can leave an hour early. The Bharatiya Janata Party has asked why such concessions were never granted to Hindus ever. The order is applicable for all Muslims employed in public sector. The Bharatiya Janata Party has called the move Congress tokenism for Muslim vote bank. The order claims Muslims can leave work an hour early for Ramzan prayers and is set to come into effect from 2nd of March this year and remain in place until 31st of March. And it allows Muslim employees to depart at 4 p.m. instead of the regular 5 p.m. But the BJP says that Congress is not being sensitive to religious beliefs, but instead only appeasing the minorities. The order will be in place for the entire holy month of Ramzan, but the Bharatiya Janata Party feels that the move is not only selective, but will also reduce Muslims to mere vote bank. But the special order for Ramzan isn't new. In fact, it's a practice being followed by various opposition-ruled states over the years. Last year, Karnataka's Directorate of Urdu and other minority language schools issued a circular altering the timings for Urdu primary and high schools. During Ramzan, these schools were operating from 8 a.m. up until 12:45 p.m. In 2023, Bihar's government allowed Muslim employees to arrive 1 hour early and leave 1 hour early during Ramzan. In 2022 and 2023, Andhra Pradesh government permitted Muslim government employees, including teachers and even contract workers, to leave offices and schools 1 hour early during Ramzan. Let's have a look at West Bengal. There is a policy allowing Muslim government employees to leave office early during the month of Ramzan as well. These employees are permitted to leave at 3:30 p.m. to accommodate their fasting and prayer schedules during this entire period. And as many continue to question as to why Hindus do not enjoy such benefits, the larger question remains, is it secularism or is it minority appeasement? And that is the question that we are going to be posing as far as the working hours cut for Ramzan is concerned. Is this even secularism? We'll be in fact probing that question in just a bit.
सरकारें हिंदू और मुसलमान सबकी होती है, किसी एक समुदाय की नहीं होती।
क्या उगादी के समय पर, क्या हिंदू फेस्टिवलों के समय पर, क्या इस तरह का जीवो आपको याद नहीं आता?
अनेक दशकों से आप मुस्लिम अपीजमेंट की पॉलिसी करके हिंदुओं को दोयम दर्जे का नागरिक बनाने की आपने भरपूर कोशिश कर ली। अब एजेंडा आपका नहीं चलेगा।
Let me introduce our guests. I'm joined in by Mr. R. Rajagopalan, who's a senior journalist, also joined in by Kamru Chaudhary, who's a political analyst. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. I want to bring you in, Mr. Rajagopalan, on what Mr. Rashid Alvi had to say. He said that sarkareं सिर्फ हिंदुओं की या मुसलमानों की नहीं होती हैं. How do you respond to that with regards to the opposition we've seen stir up in Telangana?
My understanding is very clear, Akanksha. The A.K. Anthony report of 2014 is very, very important. After the debacle of Congress in 2014, the Congress Working Committee appointed A.K. Anthony Committee to study the loss of face of Congress. Since then, Congress has gone, dirtier and dirtier, murkier and murkier, and slow by slow, and it has been decimated totally. The reason is A.K. Anthony report is not taken seriously. That spoke of no appeasement of anyone, and no question of antagonizing the Muslim, Hindu community or majoritarianism. Therefore, A.K. Anthony Committee, after that, Dr. Manmohan Singh wrote a letter to Jama Masjid, the priest of the Jama Masjid. Second thing, these are all no elections on Fridays. Why? In Uttarakhand, that is why the BJP government brought Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code is also important. This type of things will not arise, So therefore, as the BJP is also saying, there should be full amount of clarity from the government. Mr. Devant Reddy government is in a crisis. Internal Congress is sabotaging the BRS MLAs who came from BRS to Congress. They are creating this type of political upheaval in Telangana. That is why Devant Reddy has to sidestep it, divert it. He has done it.
All right.
Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti is also growing up very, very well in the villages of Telangana. My understanding is appeasement politics is not good.
All right. Mr. Rajagopalan, now I'll request you to be all ears to what, in fact, Kamru Chaudhary is going to say. Kamru Chaudhary, of course, why must the day-to-day operations of the government come to a standstill because there's a religious period on? Then expect that to happen during Navratri or Durga Puja as well. And we are a democracy and we have a constitution at a time when the government is talking about bringing in the UCC. How will such a move go down with Indians?
Well, Akanksha, there is a very serious comprehension problem with, people like my dear friend here, Mr. Rajagopalan, when you confuse these things with the UCC and other parts of our Indian democracy. We are a pluralistic society, no doubt about it. If I respect Rajagopalan's religion, his practices, methods, then I expect him also to respect me if he doesn't follow it. But that apart, there has to be no debate on this.
Take a moment to also look into the kind of precedent we are setting here.
No, it's not a precedent that is set by the Congress government in Telangana. Akanksha, you must do your research very well.
No. Please don't get to my research because I can tell you that it's very much happened under the KCR government also. Everybody is aware of that. But we are talking about the kind of precedent we are setting here. That is what I'm talking about. That if you are giving certain relaxations to the Muslim community, then expect that for other communities as well. All of them will now be standing up and saying that what about our pujo, what about Christmas?
Akanksha, let me just address the elephant in the room right now. When you say that the Congress government has done this particular thing for appeasement, let me address that first, then I come back to your question. In 2017, the Indian Railways under Narendra Modi government had issued a circular for the Muslim employees of the railways to take a 1.5 hour leave before the iftar period starts in. So that's a 2017 circular is there. In March 2023, the Bihar government had granted permission to the Muslim employees to leave early. In Delhi, Jal Board has done the same thing. Andhra Pradesh has done the same thing. In West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee allows her Muslim employees to leave 1.5 hours before the iftar.
And in fact, if you were hearing, we've already enlisted all of that before we began this discussion.
Okay. Now the point comes here that why is it necessary? Why do you want to compare the Muslim a favor that the government is doing to the Muslim employees who have been fasting from dawn to dusk with respect to the Hindu religion? So my question out here is that Sanatan religion is 5,000 years old. Do you want to compare the Sanatan religion with the Islam religion and say, look,
I
Muslims
don't
are getting
think
it,
this
so
is
that
about Hindu
Hindus,
versus Muslims.
No, Hindus need
this,
to
as
get
you
it.
said, we are living in a
pluralistic.
pluralistic society, and this is not just about Hindus versus Muslims. I am talking about then looking at it through the prism of that very pluralistic society. Why not give those kind of relaxations to other communities as well, not just Hindus?
No, if you have got 15 days to 20 days of Durga Puja vacation in Bengal. You
Christians
have got
fast during the Lent as well. That's a very stringent period for them. What about those Christians who choose to fast during the Lent?
No, if it is there, they can approach the government for it. But comparing one religion's practice and some concession received from the government with another religion is a defeat.
No, nobody is comparing it only with one religion.
Of course, you just not compared, ma'am. Why not other religions getting it? That's a defeatist attitude. And vilifying a particular communities and their practices, this is absolutely rubbish and wrong, Akanksha. I am very sorry to say that. But the basic point out here is that if an employee comes to work early in the morning for his normal duties, fasting the whole day from dawn to dusk, he will be in a zero productive state at the end of his day. And I believe it is very much imperative that the government takes care of this consideration. As it is, you are attending the office, the productivity will be low. So it's better you go home, take care, and get ready for your iftar. This is not it's a religious practice out there. If the employee is there with some specific task to undertake, I believe there are government directions also that if it is absolutely necessary, you please complete your work and go home. That's I don't think so. It is such a big hoo-ha about that. Why only the Muslim employees? Why not the Hindu employees? Or why not the Christian employees? This is. I mean to say, Akanksha, that's the sorry state that we are living out here in India right now. People believe in pluralism in India. If my boss, a Hindu, he sends me on leave because I have been fasting the whole day, I don't think so Mr. Rajgopalan should be having any problem until and unless the work suffers. If I am on a target basis that I need to complete the job, I will better complete the job and then go home.
All right. I want to bring in Mr. Rajgopalan on that note. Mr. Rajgopalan, taking forward the points that Kamru Chaudhary is making, I think, there's also the other side which is trying to highlight that this is not just Muslim centric. You have the Bathukamma, then you have for the Banjara community, there's in fact the Sevalal Jayanti where also similar relaxations are given to the tribal community. So it can't be just made about minority appeasement. This is also a point of view.
Revanth Reddy government should come clean on this, Akanksha. They must withdraw this order, otherwise they will give concession to all.
But why just Revanth Reddy government? Because remember, it all goes back to KCR's time, and it is perhaps why KCR's government lost. The BRS lost because they had those unfulfilled promises towards the Muslims, which is what in fact Revanth Reddy was able to woo.
Government is there, such resistance is there, otherwise Revanth Reddy will give full day holiday for them. What will you do? Restricted holiday, let them take it. Let them take a restricted holiday and work from home. There are certain advancement of the technology also there, digitalization. Why can't they do it at home and do the prayers and whatever that, whichever community I'm saying, Sikh or Jain or Muslim or Christian or Hindus. Now we are in the developing stage.
Akanksha, I believe Rajgopalanji is gaslighting a particular community. Look, we do not have these concessions. Only a particular community is being given that concessions. But Akanksha, you tell me, the entire, such a big Kumbh Mela is going on right now.
From Andhra to Bihar to West Bengal, I've just enlisted all those states where such relaxations have been given to Muslims. So is it, I mean, let's not negate the fact that Muslims are standing to benefit from all of these kind of similar reliefs that they've been gaining in all these states.
Akanksha, basically you see such a big Kumbh Mela is going on in Uttar Pradesh.
Right. How many Hindus got paid leave to go and take the holy dip? None.
Akanksha, my point was not about the employees taking leave. If you point out the pluralism and the secularism of a state government. What business does the UP government have to shower flowers on the Kumbh Melas from a government-sponsored helicopter? Is this not Hindu appeasement? But none of the Muslims, none of the congressmen have rather raised a question on the Uttar Pradesh's government's this blatant appeasement of the majority. We say, okay, fine, this is a very holy occasion for the Hindus. Let them celebrate it, let them enjoy it with the full, with their this thing. But you
all right, let me quickly bring in Rajgopalan on that note. Mr. Rajgopalan, would you like to come up with a rebuttal to the point that he's making about the Mahakumbh and how a state helicopter was being used to shower flowers?
What is wrong in it? The police is giving protection for Ramzan, for Muharram. Hindu policemen are giving protection. What is that Kamru Chowdhury is talking? He is my good friend. But he should understand, in the modern digitalization, transformation in the technology, why can't them work from the home? They can do prayers at home, do work from home, give relaxation. The government should come very clean on that. It be any festival, anyone wants to have work from home on particular day, there should be some sort of way out. It cannot be one-sided of appeasement of one particular community. So that is why BRS was losing. Now TRS will lose. Now Mr. Revanth Reddy will also lose. Revanth Reddy is a product of BJP. Why he is going to this type of,
Akanksha, one thing.
I want to add to that. Kamru Chaudhary, why everybody is talking about minority appeasement is because year on year, we've seen, particularly in the state of Telangana and even Karnataka. Let me, in fact, share the figures with you as far as the budgetary allocation is concerned. It's in fact crossing 3,000 crore rupees. And in the prior government, it was over 2,190 crore rupees. So we are seeing this kind of budgetary allocations which are being made for minorities. Of course, the majorities don't stand to benefit from those kind of welfare schemes that are now being promoted through these budgetary allocations. Anybody hailing from the general quota can also say that, what about me? Is it my fault? Have I committed a crime that I hail from the general quota?
Well, Akanksha, a very vital point you have raised here. There was a very big dispute when the Mamata Banerjee presented her budget this time for allocating a huge astronomical sum for, it seems, madrasa education and this thing. Now, the point that you must understand out here is that there are certain points in the Muslims, rather the people who follow the Islam, that regarding the madrasa education, which is nowhere concurrent with the Hindus out there. So, a separate budgetary allocations for them. There is a separate budgetary allocations for the Waqf board, which nowhere concerns the Hindus. There is a separate budgetary allocations for scholarships of minorities that has been carrying on for a long time. Even you have got in Andhra Pradesh, that is ruled by the NDA with support from the BJP, there is a 5% reservation for Muslims also out there. Do we call that a community upliftment, targeted development, or do we call that as an appeasement? There lies the difference on how we perceive things. When you call it as an appeasement, I call it as a targeted development of the most downtrodden society, the religious minority of this country. Even Sachar committee has accepted that report that the minorities need to be hand-holded. Even he has suggested a 15% reservation for the Muslims.
All right, let me quickly bring in Rajgopalan. I'm running short of time. Mr. Rajgopalan, how do you view this? I mean, we've already set budgets aside as far as Muslims are concerned when it comes to the Hajj. How far are we going to take this now? Is this now also going to impact the education structure? Because remember, in Telangana, we've also seen how Urdu primary schools are also being given similar relaxations. When will children study?
Everything is political, vote bank politics. Mr. Revanth Reddy should withdraw this order to have a uniform type of thing. Civil code is also important. There should be no question of appeasement of one particular community or one against another. Targeted community means, what is the targeted? That means you are not accepting that majoritarianism. Therefore, the discrepancy will be there. There will be disequilibrium will be there. There should be a sort of justice Mr. Revanth Reddy should render to the Hindus also. He cannot be appeasing one particular community and rejecting the other one. Simple as that. And it's a vote bank politics, Akanksha. they will lose the elections if they, one particular community come together.
I think that whole term vote bank politics has now become very cliched, but Kamru Chaudhary, I'm sure you will agree. I think where the BJP, the political ideology that they endorse is also that our welfare schemes, and this is what comes from the Prime Minister himself, that the welfare schemes that are being introduced by the centre are for all and they do not discriminate. Then why should state governments discriminate when it comes to certain policies, whether it's welfare schemes or such similar relaxations?
That is what Narendra Modi says, sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka prayas.
True.
So that should be sabka saath, there should be uniformity.
Right. Let's also listen into what Kamru has to say. Kamru.
If we go by what Narendra Modi ji is saying and what he is doing on the ground, whether those benefits are really reaching out to the Muslim minority of the country, yes or no?
Yes,
we have
during
a simple
Corona,
report of the Mr.
Kamru, it's an endless argument. One can also question state governments in Karnataka or even say Punjab, where you have so many unfulfilled promises, and then that's a never-ending debate.
No, the point is not that. Point is that when you go in for the actual socio-economic survey of the Muslims in the country, I believe, and a lot of other political pundits or economic pundits will also agree, that the most downtrodden minorities in this country are the Muslims of this country, and they need hand-holding to uplift their economic status.
I'm sure Rajagopalan would like to intervene over there. Mr. Rajagopalan, do you agree that Muslims are the most downtrodden minority in the country?
Not at all. We have Muslim presidents, a lot of Muslim vice presidents. There is no question of discrimination. There is no question of that. Kamru is wrong, absolutely wrong.
I'm afraid I'll have to leave it at that because I'm getting in breaking inputs. This is with regards to the CEC appointment. Many thanks to you, Mr. Rajagopalan and Kamru Chaudhary. In fact, as the row over CEC appointment now continues, Congress has released a new poster, and that's in fact attacking Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, and the new CEC Gyanesh Kumar. And they have now fired the 420 attack, referring to Gyanesh Kumar as Shri 420. That is the big attack coming in. Remember, ever since the appointment of Gyanesh Kumar as the new CEC, the Congress has been training its guns at the CEC appointment, and they have called the centre's notification on the appointment as a chief election commissioners as a hastily taken decision. And now the latest breaking input that we are bringing to you is that they have come up with a poster that's attacking Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, even Gyanesh Kumar. And let me quickly take this with Pallavi. Pallavi, what is the underlying hint at when they are referring to him as 420? Is this also meaning that he's been appointed only to escape the Supreme Court scrutiny?
Well, see, there are 2-3 grounds on which the Congress is objecting to it. One is that they're calling it a midnight coup. Basically, what they're saying is that even as the hearing is going on in the Supreme Court, it's going to resume tomorrow. Why is it that this government was in a hurry and midnight came out with a notification announcing Gyanesh Kumar as the next chief election commissioner? Second, there has been zero faith of the Congress, specifically of Rahul Gandhi, in the electoral process, especially the election commission. And they are saying that the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, along with Gyanesh Kumar, the three of them are going to be cheating the country of the democratic and electoral policies and the process. And second thing is the arbitrary manner in which, with 2:1 ratio and a dissenting note from Rahul Gandhi, the new CEC was appointed is again a defiance of all the democratic procedure regarding the appointment of the chief election commissioner.
And that's why I want to ask you quickly to take our viewers through why has this been called, this entire appointment process been called as against the spirit of our constitution. Pallavi, can you hear me?
Yes, that's right. Akanksha, basically what happened is that there is now a selection committee which consists of the HM, the PM and Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi says that, you just have a 2:1 ratio. You could have deferred this decision till the Supreme Court hearing was over. Second, he looked at the names which were given to him, but he did not even bother to give a comment. He instead gave a dissenting 2-page dissenting note and walked away from the proceedings. So the argument of the Congress and of Rahul Gandhi, as expressed on the floor of the House, is very simple. The manner of choosing of of the Chief Election Commissioner is such that you are choosing someone who's going to be malleable and who are going to listen to the Prime Minister and the words of the central government.
Absolutely. Now, with the opposition, primarily the Congress, maintaining that they are trying to bypass the entire electoral process and that the government at the centre is bending the rules for its own benefit. Many thanks to you, Pallavi, for bringing us all those latest inputs. And with that, it's a quick wrap from my end. Thank you so much for watching Plain Speak. Up next is The Right Stand with Anand Narasimhan.
Co-powered by
While hearing the plea filed by YouTuber Ranveer Allahbadia, the Supreme Court bench came down heavily on him. However, they've granted him relief from arrest. As of now, Ranveer Allahbadia has cases pending against him at Jaipur, at Guwahati, apart from that at Mumbai as well. This very case pertains to remarks which were made on India's Got Latent show. Apart from Ranveer Allahbadia, there are several other promoters as well as judges of the show who are under the radar of various agencies. Particularly when it comes to Ranveer Allahbadia, he had moved the Supreme Court asking for relief from arrest and also clubbing of all the FIR against him. Now here, particularly the counsel that appeared for Ranveer Allahbadia, that's Abhinav Chandrachud, happened to mention before the court that he was receiving death threats and also there was name calling being made against the family members of Ranveer Allahbadia. However, the court mentioned that making comments, obscene comments, just because they had the authority on YouTube does not account for them coming before the court. They also came down heavily saying that such comments are something that would not be permissible before the parents or family. It was not kind of a comment that one would make. Particularly mentioning of these obscene comments, the court, however, though came down heavily on Ranveer Allahbadia, granted him relief from arrest in all of these cases on the condition that he would have to be present before all these enforcement agencies in person and record the statement. Also, they went further to mention that Ranveer Allahbadia did not particularly have his counsel along with him when he appears before them for questioning. Now, here, before this, the Khar police station at Mumbai had also reached out to Ranveer Allahbadia. However, sources had mentioned that he was not to be found and it was not possible to communicate with him, which is where his legal team was in touch with the Khar police station. The court has also gone further and mentioned that Ranveer Allahbadia should submit his passport and so that he cannot travel outside the country. Apart from that, promoters of the very show, also were judges, are not allowed to have any further show until any orders by the court. The agencies which would further be questioning Ranveer Allahbadia have also been instructed to submit a report before the court, so which is where. Now what's also important to note is that this very statement that has been made by court would further have Ranveer Allahbadia to be ensured that he be present before all of these agencies, particularly so that he cooperate with them for the investigation. Now here the next summon for Ranveer Allahbadia is before the Maharashtra Cyber Cell, which is for February 24th. So which is where now Ranveer Allahbadia would have to be present before Maharashtra Cyber Cell and record his statement. Apart from that, the Khar police station is also trying to find Ranveer Allahbadia, and so is a case with summons issued from Jaipur as well as Guwahati. But on the other hand, the National Commission for Women had also sent summons to approximately 7 people who were promoters, directors and producers of the show India's Got Latent. When it comes to these very summons that were issued by the NCW, none of them appeared before the NCW. In fact, Apura Mukhija, apart from that Samay Raina, Ranveer Allahbadia had requested that they be allowed to be present through video conferencing, something that was rejected by the National Commission for Women, and the second date has now been given. Samay Raina and Apura Mukhija have been called in on March 6th, whereas Ranveer Allahbadia has been summoned for March 11th.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी इस पूरे मामले में जो आरोपी हैं रणवीर अलाहाबादी, उसको काफ़ी फटकार लगाई। जो लैंग्वेज यूज़ होते थे काफ़ी ऑब्जेक्शनेबल थे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये बोला
एडवोकेट आशीष जी राय और उनके सहकारी लोगों ने मुझे राज्य महिला आयोग को एक कंप्लेंट दर्ज की थी। उन्होंने उसमें कहा था कि रणवीर इलाहाबादी और उनकी पूरी की पूरी टीम बहुत गंदे कंटेंट लेके यूट्यूब पे कुछ वीडियो अपलोड करते हैं और एक प्रोग्राम लेते हैं कि उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई की जाए। तो उसका रेफरेंस लेके हमने मुंबई पुलिस को लेटर भेजा था और कहा था कि इसकी पूरी की पूरी तरह से जांच की जाए और इसकी जांच करते हुए आपके पास जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आ जाए उसके ऊपर उचित कार्रवाई की जाए। दूसरे ही दिन उनके ऊपर एफआईआर दर्ज की गई और इस कंटेंट लेके, इससे गंदे कंटेंट लेके जहाँ भी ये वीडियो किए जाते हैं, जस्ट शूट किया जाता है, और जाके लोकेशन देख के पुलिस ने अच्छी तरह से इसका पूरा का पूरा तपास किया है। और उसके बारे में आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि जिनके दिमाग में गंदगी भरी होती है वो लोग इस तरह से अपने माता पिता और इस तरह से बातें करते हैं। तो रणवीर इलाहाबादी और उनके पूरे की पूरे टीम ने आगे जाकर पुलिस को अच्छी तरह से इसमें तपास में सहयोग करें। जो भी गंदे कंटेंट इनके यूट्यूब पे हो गए वो इनके यूट्यूब चैनल से हटा दिए जा और अलग अलग जगह में, अलग अलग राज्य में जो उनके ऊपर जो भी एफआईआर दर्ज हुई है इकट्ठा किए जाए ताकि पुलिस को तपास करने में आसानी हो जाए और आगे जाके ऐसे कौन से ही शो इनके आप मत।
Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narsimhan. From fare hikes to delay in guarantee payouts, Karnataka citizens are bearing the brunt of it all. The Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar himself admitted to the fact that Gruha Lakshmi funds have not been disbursed for more than 3 months. He also cited delay in the Allahabdia guarantee payout. To this, the Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, stated that he was not aware of the delay and that there was no question of stopping any scheme. So the Deputy Chief Minister says one thing, the Chief Minister says I am unaware and we are not stopping any scheme. So within the government itself, the top two are saying two different things. Even beneficiaries of the Gruha Lakshmi scheme have claimed that they have been deprived of the scheme benefits in the last 3 months.
3 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ಗೃಹಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅನ್ನಭಾಗ್ಯದು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾತು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ ಮಾತಂತೆ ನಿಲ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಪಾವತಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಆದರೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಯೋಜನೆ ಓಕೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಬಸ್ಸು ಫ್ರೀ ಇದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಗೃಹ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಯಾಕೋ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮುಂಚೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿತ್ತು, ನಾವು 0 ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡಿ. 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಕಟ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ನಂಬ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕೈ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇವಾಗ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಲ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅನ್ನಭಾಗ್ಯ 1 ತಿಂಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಗೃಹಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಅದೂ ಹಾಗೇನೆ 3 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ.